Those nebulizers really, there is no point in using them for a nasal congestion because nebulizers act differently compared to what the babies need.
This is the Birth Agni podcast, the fire that brings us alive, that burns myths and opens a channel of authentic natural birth stories. This show debunks the many myths of the medicalized births, showcases the plethora of choices a pregnant couple can make to embark on their empowered birth journey. I'm Divya Kapoor, a certified birth and lactation counselor and an aspiring traditional birth attendant. Let's get the flames blazing high. Today, we are talking about baby sleep because I often get a lot of questions about sleep issues in my birth and lactation communities. A lot of lactation issues that come to me are tied with evening fussiness. So, today we have with us someone who is a doctor but believes in holistic care, just like I do. He started a bunch of natural products for baby sleep issues when he started Nasopari out of his own personal experience with his counterpart, Mr. Giridharan. So let's get started, talk about what really baby sleep issues are and whether many of these things that present to us as issues are really a problem for you or not. How to work around them. Let's get started. Welcome, Dr. Sreenath. You are a dentist, a sleep consultant, and today you're going to help us solve the very, very initial problems with parenting. That's with baby sleep, and that's with the fussiness, the early on crying that has the parents all the more troubled in the beginning. And you're also the founder of Buddy. That's a company that essentially began with a product for encouraging sleep for all babies. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself as a dad back then. What were those problems with baby sleep that really, encouraged you to, okay, I have to find a solution? And
So my son now is like 11 years old. Uh, I think to put it simply, we were not prepared for what came for the next 6 to 12 months. It's
Mhm.
like we were not prepared to face the sleep issues, the allergies, uh, the skin issues, and my wife, she too had difficulties with breastfeeding. It's like we couldn't sleep, and I couldn't go to work.
Yeah, right.
uh, when we think about it now, it's all funny, right? But at that time, it was like, it's like, will we be able to ever sleep again?
Yes. So, what were
Um,
those problems specifically, and how did you go about finding a solution? And then you thought about, okay, I can start a company and maybe share that product with the world because it really helped.
I think one of the first issues we had was with those simple colds and allergies. Babies usually get around 6 to 12 colds in a year compared to an adult. We usually may get just one or two severe colds, but they go through much more.
Hmm.
So they are introduced to new allergens every time they go out when they start crawling. So one simple thing is if we get a cold when we produce lots of mucus, we know how to sneeze. We
Right.
know how to sneeze. We know how to take out that mucus.
Hmm.
So with kids, with babies until 4 or 5 years old, it's like that excess mucus just gets accumulated. Just simple thing, just those few ml of mucus. It brings a host of problems. It's like
Absolutely.
once it gets worse and they have a nasal congestion, it gets blocked. After that, it proceeds to an ear infection or sometimes even a lung infection. And then you have to go for drugs, antibiotics, and decongestants.
Hmm.
So that was the point at which we felt that there were lots of issues which needed to be solved and which were not available in the market. At that time, I think there were some aspirators, nasal aspirators, which were pretty old actually, old model aspirators, and they didn't really do the job. So that's where it started. And once we got to that, as I told you, like we had so many hurdles, so many problems.
Right.
So I think we went about solving. We're trying to solve every problem, uh, which sometimes there would be some solution, but it is not, in the best interest of the baby. Say,
Mhm.
for example, a decongestant spray will be there for the colds, but uh, those are not really recommended for babies. Even for adults, prolonged usage of those decongestant sprays can harm the nasal skin mucosa. So, likewise, that's how it started, and we continue to work on different problems, including breastfeeding difficulties, which some mother faces,
Yeah.
and yeah. Yeah, I think we still have a long way to go, but I think we are on the right track.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you say those antibiotics and those solutions that you got from, for these sleep issues, for the cough and cold, they weren't without side effects. And how did you realize? I mean, of course, you're a doctor, so you do know about all these things. So when did you really realize that it's beyond a limit where we can say that's without side effects? Because these days, babies do get a lot of uh, cough and then
Infections.
infections
Yes.
and then
Yes.
for every cough and cold they are put on a nebulizer, a lot of antibiotics sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those nebulizers really, there is no point in using them. So, for a nasal congestion, because nebulizers act differently compared to what the babies need.
Oh.
I have seen my son go through that. I think those are standard solutions usually offered at the hospitals
Yeah.
for babies breathless. But maybe the issue is not in the lungs at all. Maybe it's just there in his nose. No, there's a lot of mucus stuck up in his nose, and he's not able to just get it out. So I think as a dentist, I have had experience with dental solutions where instead of just giving blanket drugs or just recommending some standard treatment, sometimes if you look for evidence and then try to solve it, it's actually much simpler and much more convenient for both the doctor and the patient.
Mhm.
So I applied the same thing here. It's like these solutions were there already in other countries, but they were not sold here, or the awareness was not there,
Or being regularly
so,
used.
or being regularly used. But the thing is, the doctors were still, they were still the medications, drugs, the standard procedures.
Right.
But as we are close to our children, we know. I think we look deeper than or a doctor or pediatrician will do. But I'm not complaining
Of
about them.
course,
What I'm
yeah.
saying is
Of
yes.
course, yeah. It makes sense if we go for a 5-minute consult, and it has become a norm now, that we are not able to, especially with children. Of course, children wouldn't tell and wouldn't speak. So when it comes to really young babies, that kind of a factoring in of their atmosphere, about other factors that could lead to the problems that parents bring in, like you're saying, just a bit of a mucus in the nose, maybe something else, and all that history is not taken into consideration. Whereas,
Yes, absolutely. I think history is important, and I think in that setting where they have a huge number of OPs waiting, I think they're not able to go deeper into it. But as a parent, I think it's okay if we educate ourselves to know what the problem is, and if it can be treated, or just you can help the baby in a home setting. And I don't believe in Google, people just googling and
right,
trying to take medication. I'm against that, but
I agree with
there
you.
are ways to prevent an serious infection or a hospital visit if we know the basics. Um,
So similarly, when you say, parents can become aware, they can understand the very basics. So tell us, doctor, that what are one of the reasons that babies early on are really fussy. So even when so I've had clients, or I've had mothers rather, I would say, whose babies are doing all well, they're sleeping, and I mean, when I say they're sleeping, but there's still periods that they are really reckless. There are even with contact nap and with adequate feeding. What else could be the reasons for this kind of fussiness, erraticness in the sleep, especially early on?
Yes. I think the average sleeping time for a baby is usually they give an average like 16 to 17 hours.
Hmm.
But I think that 16, 17 hours is an exaggeration.
Yeah.
It's like there is one study out of 100% of babies, only 60% of the babies sleep that 16 to something. They do the bulk of that
Ah.
sleeping hours.
Ah.
The rest of 40%, they really don't get that much sleep, and or otherwise, what you can say, what we could term as sleep. They do sleep, but not in the way we understand. It's like they'll be sleeping 15 minutes, crying for 30 minutes. They may again sleep for 15, 20 minutes, again go back to crying. So I think that 40%, there is a big difference between those two segments.
Hmm.
It's like a simple way to say is that usually babies, human babies, are born 3 months early. It's
Hmm.
like they miss the womb environment, they miss their mother's, secure womb, and that's the reason for the fussiness for the first few months. It's
Hmm.
like that's why we call it the fourth trimester,
Right.
and they need to get till the date they get to learn and adapt, and it is going to be a fuss. And if you are in that 60%, you are lucky actually.
Yeah.
If you end up like me in that 40%, and then you know the problems.
Right. So, when you say that babies miss the womb, and of course, womb is like a really nice, cozy, full of
Yes,
water and warm, and
yes,
so does swaddling that a lot of people recommend and say, okay, swaddling has to be necessary for sleeping, and I've seen certain babies who don't like it, certain babies love it, certain babies like it at some point, and certain babies like it at do not like it at other points. So,
yeah,
what are your thoughts on swaddling?
yeah. As swaddling, I think if it works for your baby, I think you can use it up to 3 or 4 months, and it's a gift. It's a
Hmm.
big gift.
Hmm.
But I've seen, I would say 50 or 60% of babies, they just don't, they don't want it for even a few minutes.
Right.
They will start screaming, kicking it, trying to kick it out.
Yeah.
So for those babies, I think in our cultural context, I don't think we can recommend swag to continue swagging, even if the baby screams right or it's not correct.
Hmm.
What I have seen is what our traditional Indian total, I think it's called Jula in
Hmm.
India, and
Yes.
the cloth cradle,
Yes.
which you hang from that ceiling with the springs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We no we also traditionally we also used to just take a cloth and have a rod and
yeah.
hang it from both sides, so it becomes like a
Yes,
little hammock
yes.
for the baby. Yeah.
Yeah. If you use just a plain cotton cradle, that would provide a swaddle effect, without restricting the baby's hands or legs. It provides the right amount of swaddling.
Yeah. Touch
That's
and
what.
touch and
Yes,
comfort.
yes,
Right.
yes. That comfort is there, which I think a good swaddle would provide. The same thing that a cradle cloth can provide, without the restriction or that.
Caged and not being able to really move and being, yeah,
Yes, yes.
nobody would like
It
it.
gives more. It gives more independence, and I think this is closer to the womb than actually the swaddle.
Yeah, now I can
So
think of that. Now that you're saying, even in the womb, the baby is not restricted as such, except towards the end.
yes,
Even then,
yes,
the baby can move and has its way. It's not as tight as swaddle is. Yes,
Yeah, I think that's where, yes, if the baby accepts the swaddle, that's great. If it doesn't, I think they can try this.
that's a great advice. And over the years, we are forgetting these little things that were used indigenously in our country.
Yes.
So, what are your thoughts on sleep training? I remember I Googled sleep training and I wasn't into this field earlier on. And I Googled sleep training, and there were all these methods where let the baby cry, let the baby be on its own, it's going to eventually learn to soothe itself. So, what are your thoughts on sleep training?
Uh, what I would say about sleep training is maybe if we take out the training part, that makes it sound like you are, making the baby sit and learn something. I think can make it simpler. Now, another thing is in India, most of us co-sleep. Actually.
Yes.
We don't leave our babies in separate rooms, basement, or even if he is in the cloth cradle, usually it's in the same room as where the parents live.
Yeah.
So I think we cannot go to those cryo methods, or I think that will be completely against what we have been brought up.
Yeah.
So, uh, what good points we can take from those training methods is one is the sleep routine,
Hmm.
and the second will be self-soothing. First is with the sleep routine. I think that can be done at our Indian home setting. I think this can also be taught. We don't have to think of it as training, but a sleep routine can be. Sleep routine in the sense, what I'm saying is, so say a fixed time, consistency. Give them consistency on what to expect. It's like teaching them from day and night. So if in the evening time, you should start a slow winding down procedure. Maybe go for a walk, come back, give them a bath, maybe a massage. After that, at night, he should, the light, the amount of light he sees should start going down.
Right.
When he feeds, maybe you can, go to a low light setting. When you put him to sleep, it must be dark.
Hmm.
There should be no electronic devices. There should be no television running.
Yes.
So he must know that at night it's time to sleep and he has to hit the bed. Those small routines are the same way. Make sure that they sleep at a fixed time. Say if you're putting to sleep at 7:38, that must be consistent.
Yeah. When we start trying to put them to sleep, that should be consistent.
Yes, that consistency is necessary. And other than that, I think as I said, there is this day-night confusion. You know,
Mm-hmm.
babies, we have that built-in biological clock. Say it's 6 in the morning, alarm doesn't need to be. We will get up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They don't have that. They have not developed that. It takes a few more months for them to develop. That has to be taught. It's like that nighttime triggers that melatonin. That
Mm-hmm.
melatonin hormone is there. It will help the baby to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But the melatonin stops even for our artificial lights.
Oh yes.
So around 11, 12 o'clock, if you're going to switch on the lights, say he has woken up and you switch on the lights and he's going to be like, okay,
Mm.
it's day, it's time to, right?
Yeah.
It's like a day
Get up.
starting. I need to be fresh now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you recommend that even when we are changing the diapers or something in the night, do it in dim lights or
Yes,
as minimal
yes,
light
we
as.
need to be doing this.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, these are hard lessons we learned.
Yes.
You know, I think dim lights just you don't need to invest a lot, just 15, 20 rupees, just
Mm.
a normal 0 watts lights is enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for the day, a lot of mothers question that in during the daytime, should we keep the lights low or should we keep them absolutely bright, like it's day? Because babies sleep. Some babies love sleeping during the day, so they're like, should we keep the lights low during the day when he or she is sleeping, or should we have them on like a regular day? So, mm,
I think it's important for them to learn this. day and
What day looks like.
night differentiation.
Mm.
It's like daytime, it should have some playtimes.
Mm.
Uh, it should have a playtime. After that, you walk. After that, you finally in bath. After that, you slowly start settling that down.
Yeah.
So we should not have the playtime in the night.
Right. Yeah, okay, yeah. Not towards the end of the day, like following how nature really works. Like birds go back
Yes,
to their nest and it starts becoming quiet as the sun goes down, and during the day it's
yes,
just as bright for all the animals, and we being mammals, it should be similar.
yes.
Okay.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And so what are like you've already recommended one of the indigenous methods, which is like a hammock, like a doula that we use to put the baby to sleep. What other indigenous methods would you recommend parents to look into with respect to toddler sleep, baby sleep or toddler sleep? And what would be the steps maybe when they begin with, if there's a specific, for example, certain
Yes.
babies have a specific fussy time, it's just specific, it's a pattern sometimes.
I think one evidence-based technique or method which has been popular over the few years is that 5 years method. This has been popularized by Harvey Karp, that author of Happiest Baby. I think that's one of the gold standards with something which can rely on to help our babies sleep better. And it's not really a Western concept. Or the things here, the 5 S's. One is swaddling, next is shushing, third is side down stomach, fourth is swing, and fifth is sucking on a passive.
Mm.
If you look closely into it, even he says that in his books. He got that idea when he was visiting in village in Africa.
Hmm. So he
So
discovered it, he
he's
never invented it, like he
yes,
discovered
yes.
what was being
Just
indigenously.
put it together in a way that which everyone can identify and easily follow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in all cultures, these if you see these 5 techniques which he says only there, just like how we discussed for swaddling, that how our own cradle cloth provides the same swaddling effect.
Hmm.
The same can be said for the swing also. I think the cradle cloth provides that.
Hmm.
And what he said was that in that village, people used to take turns to rock the baby. It's like they have that family, big families. Only the mother, the responsibility does not fall on the mother. It's like everyone helps.
That's wonderful.
Same thing with shushing noise. I think that comes naturally to almost everyone. It's a proven fact that it's a white noise sound, and babies have listened to this sound in their womb for the past 6 or 7 months.
Hmm.
So that's the noise we are recreating.
Okay, so white
Uh,
noise really is the noise replicating the same frequencies that the baby listens to in the womb.
yes,
And when you say it comes naturally to us, so we all like see the baby crying, I mean, like shh, 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 shh. So we do
yes,
tend to do it. Okay, so you're saying, yeah,
yes.
that does have a good effect.
Like, yes. The thing is, we can't do it for prolonged times.
Right.
That's where these eight sleep aids come into,
Picture.
where,
Yeah.
yes. And the next technique is, I think, with side down stomach. I
Mm-hmm.
think that side down stomach is just when you carry your baby in your arms and say if you lie down and put your baby over you, like he's sleeping over you.
Tummy
It's
down
like he
on the
listens to
mother.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. He listens to the heartbeat, which he has listened to for the past so many months.
Okay.
So he recognizes that.
Baby wearing comes from, we
Yes,
see,
absolutely.
yeah, mothers all along our culture wearing babies up in the Assam, down south, everywhere,
Yes.
and very traditionally different ways of carrying them around the body.
So I think it's good, but the only thing we would recommend is not to do it on the sofa. Make sure that you don't go to sleep
Ah,
and
okay, okay.
accidentally the baby rolls over.
Rolls over or
And
falls down while sleeping. Okay.
that's the only thing we have to care for. And The other thing is, as we discussed, the swing it comes with. What he actually, what it comes is to do it a gentle upward, an up and down motion. He wants to rock the baby,
Mm.
and
Like this.
yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, everyone knows it, but that's the issue with doing it for long periods of time.
Yeah, it's tiring.
Yes, I think parents should try all the sleep aids.
Mm-hmm.
It's like don't think of any one technique as some magic pill, and they should try to apply the sleep routine. Try to apply all of these techniques, whichever the baby feels, and at different points in time, the baby will take up one of the techniques.
Mm-hmm. And see what suits the baby. And
Yes.
it's interesting how rocking was recommended, and in the villages it was done excessively, like
Yeah.
everybody rocking the baby. So when we are often pointed against, we are asked not to do it if the baby will get used to it. So what are your thoughts on the fact that baby gets used to something?
What I would say is, I think in the first 3 months, they need our reassurance. They need our security, which we they need the assurance that we are always there. I think the first 3 months, I wouldn't go against any of these techniques. I say use all these techniques. They eventually learn to self-soothe.
Hmm.
That's what the sleep training methods is all about. They want the baby to uh, learn by itself on how to soothe itself. I think we can take in gradual. I think one of the methods is called fading it out. I think that is one of the methods I think which will apply to our Indian setting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not a drastic cry out method where they are asking you to leave the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think a gradual weaning out of this technique is fine. They will get used to it.
What's the fading method? How does it work?
It's like if a baby is crying, you can pick him up, you can rock the baby,
Ah,
you
okay.
can snuggle, you
Yeah.
can put it in your arms.
Okay. And gradually the baby will learn. So you have
Yes,
to respond to the
yes,
cues, what the baby is trying to
yes,
communicate,
absolutely.
rather than letting him or
Yes,
her on its own.
yeah. So I think the better way to explain this is with sleep cycles.
Mm-hmm.
We all have the sleep cycles. Even as adults, yeah, if somebody was to video to me sleeping, like we wouldn't be in the same position throughout the night.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like in between those sleep cycle phases, what happens is when we shift from one phase of the sleep cycle to the other,
Mm-hmm.
we actually wake up. Our brain actually wakes up. So
Mm.
what we have learned is to just change the position or just turn around and we have learned to sleep. That's the thing babies actually are yet to learn. It's
Mm.
like between those sleep cycles. As you must remember that our school says that REM sleep, non-REM sleep.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's called that phase. Between those phases, there is a shift actually. So their brain wakes up and they get up, and it's like they have woken up. What I would recommend is in those first few minutes, maybe just pattern or just shush him a bit, but don't pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
See, if it goes on for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe at that time we can pick him up and then try to console.
But do respond, like shushing or maybe just using our hand. We call it thapki, patting the
Yes,
baby, and
yes,
just
yes,
reassuring
absolutely.
that somebody's there and
Yes,
helping
it's
and
there.
present so that they can do something on
That's
their
the
own.
benefit of co-sleeping.
Co-sleeping, yes, yes. It is a good thing
Yes.
that in India, I think nobody thinks of not co-sleeping at all. Mostly all
Yeah.
of us, we want to.
Sounds so alien to us to not have a baby in the room.
Yes, it's very alien. I think I slept till I was seven with my parents, and then I shifted to another room. We sleep like till we've really grown up with our parents. We slept like that. It's
We turned out fine, actually.
absolute.
I think the sixth risk, that sudden infant death syndrome, I think lowest recording is in India, actually.
Hmm.
We don't have a syndrome. But it's there more in the West where co-sleeping is not recommended.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's got to do more with their beddings, heavy blankets and stuff.
Right, and not being there when the baby needs it does something with the brain. So
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
we have no reason that we have till date being able to uh, that that very specifically says what really happens when a baby suddenly
Yes,
dies. So we don't know what is it
yes.
is it just the suffocation, or is it maybe something else has to do with the brain or anything. And With my own experience, if I can ask that question, um, so we've talked about swaying, we've talked about swaddling, we've talked about patting the baby. So when I remember my daughter was born in December, so it was cold. And she'd be on me, and I would have fed her, and she would have gone to sleep. And then the moment I'll bring her back to the cot, when I say cot, when I'll get her back on the bed, her small little bed,
Correct.
she would start crying, and then I'll
Yes,
have to feed her
absolutely.
again, and slowly, very nicely, with absolute no noise, bring her down to sleep, and very gently take my hand off. She
Yes.
wouldn't wake up. So why does that happen?
I think babies know what's good for them, right?
Yeah, they definitely are intelligent.
Yeah.
Yes.
They know what's the best environment for them. They have been there and they know the warmth, they know that heartbeat, and they know that, that touch where it's so reassuring. So I think this they will adapt to, but I think what all we can do is give them some sleep aids, something like a converter, comfort, like
Mhm.
say mother's dress or
Mm.
some blanket which they are attached to, which with the smell of it, which they like maybe remains there, mom or dad.
Oh. So instead of really buying these new set of clothes for the babies, use your own stuff because they recognize
Yes.
you. That's so non-commercial, and I love that because we've been taught, we've been shown, okay, this, that, with the baby, and what the baby really needs is you.
I have heard one guy say that he has tried all the swaddles and none of it worked. Finally, what he slept on was his old T-shirt. That that gave him that I don't know what freedom and that comfort.
Comfort,
Yeah, I
emotional
think
security.
yes, emotional security and reassurance that we are there for him.
Wow, the root cause is really that and nothing else. Wow, it's so simple and it's so magical when we hear those stories of what really worked for the baby. Yeah, the mother's clothes, the father's clothes, the voice. That's one of the things that we often like. We get really anxious with the babies crying. When the baby is crying relentlessly, we try and be calm for some time, and then we all
We
follow.
lose it.
Yeah, we lose it. We follow the baby now. You're cranky, we're cranky. Let's together be cranky and try to
Yes.
solve the issue. So, does the emotional state of the parent also kind of has a snowball effect that the baby keeps?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we feed off each other. I think he recognizes what our emotions. We recognize his emotions, and it goes on and on. And I have been there. I think somewhere around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It's like I would have lost it. Uh, all those, whatever learned or whatever read would just go off. It's like we would, yeah. And I think again we'll come back to that consistency part.
Right.
So we have to be at times firm with at what time he goes to sleep.
Mhm.
I think I think they'll come to understand that.
The routine.
This is yes.
Mhm, mhm. Makes sense. So, apart from all these, what are the other reasons? You spoke about cough and cold, and I'm really interested in the when you say it's just the mucus in the nose. So, how do parents work with that? And what could be the other physical, like just practical reasons for them not going to sleep?
Okay. Another thing is I told you about the 40% of babies.
Right.
Most of those babies have colic.
Mm.
Colic symptoms are like uh, uncontrolled crying for hours together. Usually it starts in the evening and goes on at times till midnight or sometimes even crosses that.
Right. Very common.
So at present there is no clear explanation for this why colic happens. It's called those witching hours and
Right.
one possible reason could be gas.
Mm.
What we recommend is we have an colic swaddling for that, or something which is much more simpler than it is. As I said, on playtimes, babies do not know how to
Switch.
roll.
Oh, roll.
Yes, they
Okay.
do not know how to roll till I think a few months, right? 3 or 4 months. Yeah,
Close to
yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah.
So, if a baby is very young, say 1 or 2 months, and during playtime, I think the mother should roll over the baby under her supervision
Mm-hmm.
and give him some playtime in that position.
Tummy time.
Yes, tummy time. Yes.
Okay.
So that would help with colic.
Right.
Sometimes when colic comes, it's going to be there for the 3 or 4 months.
It's normal,
But
right? It's normal. There's
yes,
nothing
yes,
wrong with a particular baby. It's just normal.
yes. Good thing is it goes away itself.
Yeah.
At 3 to 4 months, it goes away itself. So different techniques have been recommended for at least soothe the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the UK, they have that warm bottle. They keep the warm bottle over baby's stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And in India, we have you have the herbal mixtures. They just apply to you. It's like you can try all that. There's no harm. You're not giving any syrups or anything. These all can be treated.
Mm-hmm.
When I say warm bottle, I'm also talking about something hot and just lukewarm.
Lukewarm.
Just about lukewarm.
Mm-hmm. And you do recommend using these indigenous methods first before any medication is introduced, really, because now people are going and buying Colicate off the counters just by word of mouth.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend Colic like, at least until 12 months or 24 months.
Oh.
We should try to avoid all these drugs. I think we should learn to differentiate also.
Mm-hmm.
Say if a kid has an ear infection or if a kid has an say lung infection, is coughing badly, at that point, I think you should visit the hospital. You should consult your pediatrician. But I think it's okay to take a balanced approach.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Makes sense. When you spoke about the five S's, you do have the shusher, and you have an entire sleep kit with on Naso Buddy.
Yes,
So that's the shusher. It and it has a colic belt.
correct,
Tell us
correct. Yeah.
about that and how does that work? And
Yeah. Shusha, as we discussed, is it's a white noise machine,
mhm,
and we have designed it to be played at a decibel where it's not going to hurt the baby. Even if you place it in the maximum volume, it's not going to hurt the baby.
mhm,
And it's recorded by professionals to make sure that that decibel doesn't cause those decibels and frequency is maintained. And second is the colic soluble. As I said, it provides two benefits actually. One is that I spoke about the warm water. Right? It has a gel actually. Gel is just water gel. So you can heat it up in the microwave. Better it just just put it in boiling water and then you place it inside the milk. And it has that swaddle effect. It goes around the baby to provide that the reassurance.
tugged feeling.
Yeah, instead of holding his hand, restricting his hands or legs,
Mhm,
it has that reassurance. And we have a balm actually, if the parent could apply at massage time or just before sleep. It has those essential oils, lavender, chamomile. And these lavender, chamomile essential oils, it has been proven over decades and decades in so many different cultures that it helps the baby without any side effects.
Right.
And the side effect is actually it's good for the skin.
Mm.
Lavender, yeah,
Yeah, we do use lavender for soothing the mother in labor. We use chamomile. We use all these in labor itself. So definitely these
that's
are
great.
natural methods. So balm is really interesting. So I've seen a lot of people again, like word of mouth. They keep suggesting each other use when there's cough and cold. Use this Vicks vapor up, which I would think twice before putting on myself, let alone my baby. So then the second suggestion comes, okay, put it on the feet. What do you recommend? What do you suggest?
To say that some essential oils are not recommended for babies.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, menthol is an essential oil, but it has some side effects.
Mm-hmm.
It can, aggravate your cold. Actually,
Oh, and that's one of the things we don't even know.
yes. So there are things which should be avoided, which is there. I think both in the adult wakes and if you check that pediatric baby wakes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, one shocking part is it doesn't have any natural fragrances. It will say fragrances. Those fragrances are check. They are not actually essential oils. It won't be mentioned as essential oils. It will be
Mm.
mentioned as fragrance.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it may smell like something, but we are not sure what it is made of. Actually.
precisely. Yeah, and the balm that
So
you make, it is made up of natural lavender and natural.
essential oils,
Wow.
yes, pure essential oils. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think it used to have camphor in that mix. I'm not
Mm.
sure whether if the I don't think the baby Vicks has it, but I think the adult Vicks will still have got
Camphor.
camphor. Those are strict no-nos.
Hmm. And we never know if the baby one also has it because I'm not sure if it smells pretty different, pretty much the same. So when we do have an alternative, the balm, the baby balm that you're making, why not go to that? So when
Yeah.
do you suggest it should be used? Should it also be used for cough and cold, along with
I think
sleeping?
for 3 months plus,
3 months.
3 months plus, they can start using it.
Okay.
We are using lavender, chamomile, but I think still there is an apprehension about whether we can use those. I think lavender and chamomile are fine, but the other ingredients, I think it's best is to use it after 3 months.
After 3 months.
And I think they should use this as an soothing bowl. I think, as you said, in the night time when the baby is coughing
Hmm.
and he's not able to, he has the restlessness.
Hmm.
He's not able to settle down. And for those things, it really helps. And we have got great reviews for this from even adults
Hmm.
who want to settle down for a sleep and they're not able to, they have a persistent cough. It works for that.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of the things that we indigenously use overall. And when it comes to natural
Yes.
products, they aren't really special demarcation with children and with adults. Only when it comes to artificial things or synthetic products or medicines, we do have a demarcation.
I think at the time when my son was a baby and we wanted to, try this methods, it's like you Google it out and there are so many things. It's like everything is showed as a miracle,
Right.
and they're saying you should do that to bring this, and we felt that this will, something which you don't need to break your head about, and
Hmm.
you can use it like how you have been taught to use a bomb
Yeah.
just as a comforter when you're to put your baby to sleep.
Yeah. And when you spoke about the mucus in the nose, so how do parents work with that? And I have been apprehensive of using the ones that come with their own suction and come with, the something that goes into the nose. So what do you suggest? What's a better way and what does evidence say?
So I think the removing the mucus and using it along with saline, just plain saline,
Mm-hmm.
not any drugs, it goes a long way in controlling the infection, controlling secondary infections. When only when this thing worsens, people get those ear infections, and it proceeds to a lung infection.
Mhm.
So if you can uh, make it like a hygienic measure, whenever the baby has a cold, and if you constantly say just twice a day, and if his nose is going to keep clean, and if the nose will prevent the infection, that all it has got the small hairs which helps to trap those dirt allergens,
Hmm.
that will work properly. So
Okay.
our aspirator which we have is simply a parent powered section.
Hmm.
Actually, this is not a motor section.
Okay, it's the
So
parent controlled
parent,
suction.
yeah,
Okay.
parent control section.
Okay.
So there is no reason to believe that this will hurt the baby, or
Hmm.
a parent knows, she can see for herself that the mucus is coming out or not. And
Hmm.
we introduced the saline also. Saline has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
So we felt that uh, with sprays, there is a better coating of saline, and the mother could easily remove the saline followed by the aspirin.
Okay, it's used in combination. That's what you're saying. Okay, so
Yes,
we use the saline to kind of just wet the
loosen
nose.
out the
Okay.
mucus. Yes.
Okay.
After that, this is the what do you say? Most drug-free, simplest solution for that.
Right. To an impending cough or an impending ear or
Yes, yes,
nose
to prevent
to
that.
prevent that.
Yes, ear and nose infection.
Absolutely
Yes.
makes sense. How about the cleaning? How do we clean the aspirator?
It, it can be just dismantled just by pulling it apart. And you
Okay.
can just wash it with warm water and soap.
Okay.
There's nothing complicated.
Okay, okay. Pretty much all of these products are centered around baby sleep. Uh, the
Yes.
one that I actually began recommending, like I said, the nipple healers.
Nipple
Yes,
healers.
they
Yes.
are my favorite. And that's how I contacted you when I realized, okay, you're a sleep consultant. So nipple healers were incredible in the way because there are nipple shields out there. I do not recommend nipple shields, especially if you're going
Yeah.
and taking them on your own. Definitely not. If you would really really need it as a last resort, I will recommend nipple shields as a lactation counselor. But nipple cups were fantastic because I would often say, okay, take out your breast milk for your sore nipples, and then dip your nipples into it. But nipple healers just makes it incredibly simpler because you don't have to take it out again and again, dip it, and be at work to help your sore
Yes.
nipples. Nipple cups really just, you just put it on between feedings. It doesn't interfere with breastfeeding, unlike nipple shields, which actually does interfere with
Yeah.
breastfeeding when you put
Yes.
it on and then use it. And the nipple cups are used between feedings, and they are put on and they collect the breast milk on its own and automatically heals. And I was like, wow, what a design. A lot of mothers have found help in that. So yeah, thank you so
Thanks.
much on these
Thanks.
really smart products that employ a easier way to go about helping babies. And coming from a doctor, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
um,
Thank you.
so I would now go to listener questions. So we did collect certain questions from our community, from our social media, and mothers wanted help with certain personal problems that they were facing. So here's the first one. So,
Yes.
how to night wean when co-sleeping, and does the effort in night weaning affects the baby sleep? So I believe here the question is, getting off breastfeeding when co-sleeping, is that going to affect the sleep?
Just challenging. So I think the first important thing with weaning is to reduce the number of sessions gradually.
Hmm.
Uh, Say maybe if you're doing it thrice, or maybe you can reduce it to two. Slowly reduce it. And while weaning, I think a dad should play a role too, and with patting, reassuring, maybe
Hmm.
give him just water. We do not recommend uh, milk, milk bottles at the time. I think
Hmm.
water, just plain water.
Hmm.
And I think during this time, the sleep will get affected. But to have a successful wean, we should not go back.
Hmm.
we should be consistent and should be over within a few days. But if we keep going back, that's going to cause a lot of confusion to the baby.
Yeah,
Yes.
be sure about the routine that we're beginning with.
I think usually it takes about a week. I think it will be tough, but I think the dad has a role to play, a major role to play in reassuring the kid.
That's a good message because dads do have to do a lot of effort with, and it's a good bonding time with the baby. And
Yes.
overall, the effort is so much reduced when there's a partner helping you with something that is really, that looks like a task, that looks like a marathon in itself. Weaning in itself is like a marathon. You go kilometer by kilometer and then
Yes.
kind of go
Hit
there.
milestones.
Yes, milestones. So it's a good advice to involve the partners, and it just takes off the load of the mother in so many ways. Okay, and the next one is my doctor advised me to feed the baby in every 2 to 3 hours, but my baby sleeps 4 to 5 hours, and even if I try to wake up or feed in sleep, he doesn't open his mouth. When he wakes up, he is so hungry that he does not put effort in latching and cries endlessly. Should I wake up a sleeping baby?
I think it depends on the baby's growth and weight gain.
Mm.
So if the weight gain is sufficient and if the growth is fine and the doctor is happy about it, I think it is okay to let him sleep.
Mhm. Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. It's okay to let him sleep.
Mm.
It's not an issue, and maybe in the daytime they can feed him more frequently, depending on his hunger cues. The nighttime, but if the baby is underweight, if the baby, if the doctor feels that he needs to catch up, then I think it's okay to wake him up.
Mm. Okay. Okay, so next one. Does inadequate sleep affect the growth of children? I mean, she means infant, I guess. Yeah. Infant or toddlers. Hmm.
Yeah, I used to be very anxious of it, but we all know what sleep provides and what the lack of sleep. It's like as you said earlier, we are anxious, and he gets those vibes, and we get it back from him.
Right.
But there was one long-term study
Mm.
of they compared I think over 15, 16 years with babies who slept, as you said, that, solid 12, 13 hours of sleep, and those babies which had those cranky nighttime activities.
Mm.
It all turned out fine, actually. They all turned out fine.
Mm.
It's like behavior and physics. They couldn't find anything significant. It's like
Mm.
I have been anxious, and in the end, I think they will all turn up fine. We could do our best, and they know how to adapt also. I mean, we
Yes.
spoke about how they need to learn to self-soothe. They will learn it eventually
Hmm.
with our training or without our training.
That's a relief. Yeah. Right, right. So, meaning that babies, they do have tons of reasons that they would cry. We cannot really control a lot of it. We can only help soothe them in whatever ways we can.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, how do we exactly clean the mouth of a 1 year old as they eat now? And sometimes it smells too. Old people say with a cloth, and I don't understand this why.
Yeah. This is a dental question which I
Yeah, I
get.
think because yeah, I collected the questions saying that you're a dentist, so
Yes.
one of the questions came in.
Yeah, I have seen. I think this is not what the elders say are not wrong actually.
Mhm.
So what you can do is take a clean cotton cloth,
Mhm.
a clean, soft cotton cloth.
Mhm.
Roll it around your index finger.
Mhm.
Roll it around your index finger. And just massage the gums.
Okay.
So you don't have to think of it as you are brushing it. Just think
Okay.
like you are massaging it. Even if you're not comfortable with this, you can use that finger brush, silicone finger brush.
Okay.
So
The
this
one that
silicone finger,
The
Yeah, it goes into your finger. Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you try and silicone one in that. Those are not actually brushes. Actually, they are meant for massaging your gums.
Oh, and we begin with brushing. When the first tooth comes, we start using
Yeah,
them for brushing. Okay.
yeah. But I would recommend once the teeth starts coming, you switch over to a brush.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Those are primarily for gums,
Gums.
and it's a good habit to clean those gums. As you said, it smells. It's I think after every meal, it's not every, at least in the night.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to do.
And we can begin with the infants, or after a few months.
Yes,
With infants, it's okay.
yes, absolutely. It can be done.
Can be done. Okay.
It can be done, especially if they are using formula or
Mm.
doing giving them a
Ah,
bottle. It's compulsory.
yeah.
It's like it has to be done because those causes a lot of that decay in the milk teeth. We call it as rampant caries. So if they are having those bottles, it's mandatory to give a full rinse or at least end it with water.
Do not have the sugar and everything pull in and
Yes,
cause
yes,
decay.
yeah.
Okay.
Because even the baby teeth, it lasts till they are, the front teeth will be 6 years, at times till 11, 12 years, it's going to be there. So those should be taken.
Okay. Okay. So the next one, this is the last. And my 8-month-old sleeps quite less. He is active and all, but lately he has started sleep crawling. The moment he wakes up at night, he starts crawling and crying. The same happens before he goes to sleep, as he fights sleeping a lot.
So we spoke about those sleep routines and all that. The thing
Right.
is, you may establish a big routine, but it's going to get broken multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And when those things happen, you'll have to again go back to your, I know it's exasperating. You think that okay, it's done. My son is going to sleep from here on, and then you just go on a vacation for maybe 4 5 days. You come back, he doesn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
All your it will happen, but uh, there is no other way. You have to again start from scratch.
Right.
Again, try to establish a routine. And I think maybe he's just learning to crawl. I
Mm-hmm.
think from the question, I think that's what I got. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's learning to crawl.
Mm-hmm.
That will happen when they hit a milestone. Now there is a change. Now previously they have not explored spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and now they are exploring new spaces. They are seeing new things.
Right. So it's
It will
okay.
happen.
Right. So do you so with the crawling that she says he wakes up and crawls, do you think that is it okay like the crawling in the night even when he's half conscious and half asleep?
I don't think it's a big issue.
Okay.
It's like I think he's learning something new.
Mhm.
I think he has seen new spaces. He's getting new experiences. Those get reflected in the night, like oh, you had baby dreams.
Okay.
Uh, so I think as parents who co-sleep, I think we usually wake up the minute they are awake.
Right.
Uh,
Very alert. Yeah.
I think if safety is an issue, maybe they can use pillows or things to make sure that he doesn't go out of the bed.
Mhm.
But I think this is fine.
Okay.
This is not uh, worried about
Mhm.
that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sreenath, for taking up all these questions, and thank you so much for answering all these questions from an Indian point of view. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure talking to you.
There is a field beyond fear, where the body is empowered to take on labor and birth. To land there, it is crucial to take birth education. To enroll into our unique labor and birth preparation course, reach out to us at www.birthagni.com or scroll through all available prenatal and postnatal preparation classes. Thank you for listening, all in the spirit of birth, womanhood, and freedom. Remember, you got the power. This podcast is about physiological birth and does not offer or claim to provide medical knowledge or diagnosis.